This video is going to start off a little differently because this area right here, this is probably the cleanest it's ever been. See, I made parts for TCs and Toyotas for, I've been going on that about 15 years now. And Scion isn't a thing anymore, so there's not a lot of call for those parts. So this used to be the shipping area, which has now been condensed down to that little pile of envelopes, a scale, and my paper cutter. And I cleared the rest out. I made room for all these crawlers up here. Because in a place like this, whenever you think you have enough space, that's usually about the time you start running out of space. Because everything is competing with something else for dominance. There's the bikes, there's the stuff to maintain the bikes, there's the crafts, there's the tools, there's more tools, there's yet more tools. There are even tools that aren't being immediately shown in the video. There's some tools hidden under there. So when I cleared off that section of bench, which hasn't seen daylight in over a year, and the crawlers got a home over here, I noticed conspicuously that now I had a couple of empty spaces, and I, not unlike nature, abhor a vacuum, so obviously we had to add another vehicle, right? So we're gonna do this YouTube full-on unboxing style, but we're gonna go from the box to the rocks. So let's get on to it. As I said, having available space is not something that I'm explicitly used to. If you could see what's up there, it's nightmarish in the amount of stuff that's crammed into the loft that lives above the power tools. But I do have enough room to put another crawler in here. Oof. It's heavier than anticipated. So we're going at this together. This is going to be a shared experience between myself and the internet. Opening the box, which will undoubtedly have another box in it. And this is one of those things, you know. I've mentioned this before in other videos, where sometimes you see something, and as soon as you see it, you have to have it. And I've been looking at Carisma, but there's not really a lot out there. A-Main currently only has one, the Land Rover. I wasn't really interested in another Land Rover. So when I saw a van, and that van's name being the Prairie Wolf, that was that. Yeah, it's an RTR, and I've made it very clear in the past that RTRs are not really my thing. I'm a kit guy. I'd rather build a kit. But this RTR may at least, on some small level, save me from myself. As it is my tendency to start upgrading a rig before I even got it out of the box. So on that rainy day that allowed me to clean up, that's when I ordered this. And we fast forward to now, and here it is. Oh. There's, oh, so RTR, but maybe not 100% RTR. There's a bumper there. That looks like an RTR radio, if ever I've seen one. But you know, it's got ATV on it. I don't know what that is. They have tubes. Some more tubes. And then inside the box, is a vehicle encased in tubes. I hope this is centered up. Yeah, it looks all right. So what's it's almost too much. I can't bear the weight of it. It's a van. So this is on some proper class 1 type stuff. I think they say the tires are 95 or 98 millimeter. They're a bit on the firm side, I will say. As you just saw, we're definitely learning about this together. That seems underdamped, but hey, what do I know? Am I missing tape or something? Ooh! Wow! That is Velcro E. This one is not attached to the van, but I can replace that. That is the meanest. That is angry Velcro. The stickers on that body are not amazing. We'll look past that for now. It is Spartan, to be sure. It's got sort of an MST look to it. The center CVD shaft very similar to the way MST does theirs. Center mounted gearbox with some sort of sealed can. They have included for us a NIM pack, if I can get it out. They went with the extra sticky Velcro. A 1400. I have no need of that. So I guess, ooh, yeah, I gotta move this thing. I mean, that's one way of doing it. I'm noticing we've got two things. We've got very small tires, boop, and really big shocks. Like, those are some off-road looking shocks with limiters in them. This will be run exactly as it is in the package. Oh wow, look at that. Look at that front body mount. That, my friends, is a contraption. It will be run just like this. The only thing that is going to be done to it is, I can't remember the last time I saw a Tamiya plug. And I am going to have to put a full-on hard case, like one of these, in here, because this guy is 2S Max, and I'm a 3S guy. So, I mean, at some point, the speed control will have to be changed just so I can run 3S. Yeah, these body mounts, these are something else. I've never had to mount a van, so I mean, I guess this is just how it goes. The shock towers look very SCX-10-ish, slightly different. Very curved rails. Oh, little flats. It's interesting, to be sure. It should only take a minute or two to solder something on here and get a battery on this thing, and then it'll be on the rocks within the next few minutes. For me, there's always been a certain amount of zen when it comes to soldering. It's like raking leaves. You're having a sense of accomplishment, because when you get done, you can see that you've done something. And you know, it's like, why I wouldn't mind spending an afternoon cleaning out an attic. because nobody's gonna see it, but I'll know, and I'll know that it's clean now. I mean, I guess the easier way for a sane person would be to take the speed control out, but that's not how I roll. We're just gonna get a little hot tin on there and just go at it. Going XT60 as I still have a couple 2S packs. Most of my 2S packs and 3S packs, the non-crawler variety, have been converted over to EC5 plugs because it seems like everything I'm buying lately is some sort of Horizon product, and they've really leaned in to their IC5 plugs. This is probably going to make it so that no one can see anything. The good old pan of ice. If you do any kind of repetitive work like this, this is one of those things that you'll buy it once and you'll have it the rest of your life. So I think everyone should have a pan of ice. They're brilliant. I've got the Teflon jaws in mine because mine gets used for soldering probably 95% of the time. I've got other bigger vices if I need to do something proper. And I've been using the same spool of, I mean, it says nothing now. Kester, the 44, it's still got lead in it. I've been using that for 20 years. And it's not like I don't solder a lot of stuff. This was a 25 pack of male-female XT plugs, and there's one female left in there. So I thought I would have enough. But when the whole fleet is on, when the whole crawler fleet is on one type of connector, this is what we have. I don't know how boring this is to an innocent bystander. Like I said, I really fall into the zen of it. Like, I was on Traxxas plugs for all my batteries for many years. And then one day I just decided I don't like these anymore. And sat down and changed the ends on, I don't know, probably 40 battery packs. Then, of course, had to change the connectors on all the speed controls. We leave the female plugged into a male so that if we overheat it, the pins don't rotate around or try to melt the plug. That comes back from my days when your only real option for stuff like this was Dean's. I mean, I prefer these a lot, for sure. So that's the extent of the electronic work for this. I think that's, as I mentioned, that's going to have to be replaced just to make the thing cooperate with the rest of the fleet. I don't know about the shocks. They seem all right. We'll find out. I mean, I've never driven a tire that small. And I didn't have any big 2S packs charged, so the internet will never know. I will get the... Oh, you know what? We'll move on to the next thing. I still live in the mindset of doing a thing and coming back after I've done the thing and showing a picture of it and saying, here's the thing that I did. So getting my brain accustomed to taking people along for the journey. And mind you, I've said it in the past, and I'm not... Oh, wow. There's the included charger. I'm not bragging about it, but I don't write things down. It's a terrible habit. I have a woodworking background, and generally you want to write things down. HW. I'm probably not going to use the high watt batteries. I'm an Amazon Basics man. Oh, light buckets and rearview mirrors. I am going to use the radio, at least for now. I'm guessing these are bumper droppers. Yes. So much as I hate manual. Oh, we got 3 pages, and I don't think they mention at any point. Are they going to tell us how to put the bumpers on? Nope. That's for them to know and me to figure out. It's a van. I can't. Oh, that Velcro. I don't think you need body pins. That Velcro is... That Velcro is serious. It is not here to mess around. So, let's get this flipped over a little. Yep. Alright. I'm assuming that box will have the pins in it to relocate that bumper lower. So, like I say, it's going to go out there exactly as it comes in the RTR. How is that going to... Is it... I mean, maybe I'm missing something. There's are there more parts? There's a tow hitch. That's, I mean, I don't know. Is there a picture on the box? The picture on the box, I guess I can move that. So the picture on the box does not have a rear bumper. And it does just mention front bumper with shackles and winch mount. Okay. Also, I should mention, while I was looking at it, while I was soldering on it, we've got 4-link front and rear, but with a chassis mounted servo. Maybe that's a common thing. I don't know. I just know I don't own a rig that has 4-link front and rear with chassis mounted servo. So I guess I don't need to worry about that. That is a significant overhang for a tire that small. But we don't know. Rolling Haul House Van. Wow. I mean, for real though. If you just put that Velcro up there, well, to be frank, you'd never get the body off. So, I'm going to bolt that on, and then we'll put a battery in it. That is so rickety. I mean, I understand that they're very long and they have to be, but wow. So, with the near pound weight of a 2S pack up in the front, you should make it interesting. I'll get some scale numbers on it as well. I will have to double remind myself for that. And I'll dig through this bag of hardware and get the little doojabs put on the front. I mean, I could video that, but like, who wants to see it? There's absolutely no assistance provided by any of the included materials as to what screws are for what or what goes where. There's like some 3x6. I have no idea what those are for. There's these big long ones. And maybe... I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to use to put the shackles on, so I will probably just leave those off. I also found this little gem. If using LiPo battery, please change the motor. Which, I'm trying to wrap my head around that, because on the other little tag that I pulled off, max 8.4 NIM or 2S LiPo, and a fully charged 2S LiPo is 8.4 volts. So, anyway, I'm not gonna listen to what, I'm not gonna do what they tell me. I'm gonna run it just like that, and I mean, we'll see if fire shoots out of it. So, the gearbox looks very SCX-10-3 gear, but it's got some little extra whatnot going on out here. And definitely its own unique bolt pattern. There's only 2 bolts holding that on, and it looks like you could flip it around and mount it the other way. But the manual's not going to tell me, so I don't know. As I've said, it's going to go out and light on fire or work just like that. As soon as the angry charger over there gets finished putting some juice into that battery, which will be no time for y'all, but I guess I can put a surrogate battery in it and throw it on the scales and see what I get. As one would expect, a full-size 2S 6200 pack up front absolutely slamifies the front end, so the rear is way up in the stratosphere. They do have a bunch of preload dialed in, but like I said, this is an RTR. It's gonna go out RTR. So I'm gonna get it on the scale real quick and see what happens. I haven't even gotten the scales turned on yet, and the upgrade-itis is overwhelming me, but I'm resisting because, like, what if it's terrible? Like, yeah, it's basically a class 1, but what if it is a painful experience to drive? I've been down that road before. Front 1.63, 1.56. We've got 1.07 on the left rear, and can't see it. It's like 1.24. That's an awful. That cross is going to be bad, really bad. My favorite risers, because I know their size. Let's see where we're at now. That's bad. I mean, like I say, you can't tell. You don't know till you know. This behavior is definitely better raised than level. 1.08. It's consistent. I mean, that's something. The thing I use to run the calculation for the CG is the same thing that I record with. So, I mean, that can be a bit of a problem. Anybody betting on it being bad, they would be absolutely right. The CG is 1.84 inches above the axle and 3.71 inches from the ground, which is that would be fine. I think that's around the same CGH that Lil Yella has, but Lil Yella's on tires that are like 5 inches tall, and these tires vertically are just a hair under 4, which is right. I think they say they're 95 or 98 millimeter. Either way, that's a pretty high CG. Yeah, that would put the CG right about there. It's not awful, but I would like to see the CG down about the level of the rim. I think it's entirely doable without adding weight to get that CG to come down. But, once again, until it's got wheel time, I'm just speculating. I would like to point out on the included sheet of decals, dog milk, happy dog go faster, kids not inside. These are insane. This whole thing is insane. It's a huge van on microscopic wheels. It's got the bumper way out here, I'm assuming, if you wanted to fit a winch. But if you just raise the body mounts up one hole, you could tuck that. I mean, like I say, that's for phase 1, where I do some jiggering around with it to try to get it to handle better. Because, I mean, not to be overly negative, but I don't feel like this thing is going to blow me away. I mean, the flex is not bad. Like, I think the 4-link has got some good go to it. The intention is still to change the shocks on the Tranquish to something shorter, and these sure look like 90 millimeter to me. They might be hundreds, and if they're hundreds, I would rather put some 90s on it. Wow. It's going to be interesting. That is not, like, that's not damping. There's some 20 weight in there, it feels like. The rear is much slower than the front. Like, I can stuff it. Oh. Yeah. Those shocks are going to need going through or just replaced. As some might have seen, I have the bin. That's just the bin of homeless shocks. Got some Ecto shocks. Got some TRX4 or SCX-10. I don't know. I got like 4 full sets in there. I mean, I have box 2. There's more in there. But like I say, probably the Desert Lizards, because I don't like to leave a good shock homeless. That pack is charged enough. So let's see what she do. Carrying this out to the course, I was laboring over where do I take it, because the ground clearance is going to be next to nothing, and a lot of the canyon is craggy slabs, and even the most trailing portion I could find, it got stuck a lot, which I don't think is directly indicative of the performance of the vehicle, and more onto the fact that I don't know how to drive it. So this was as much for me to kind of alter my mindset as it was to evaluate to quickly evaluate the performance of a brand new rig. And I have to say, within the first few seconds, I could tell that I feel like I've seen that speed control somewhere before with the little red. I think Red Cat must use some similar variant. I'm sure a lot of companies use that little 30 or 40 amp or whatever it is. The fine control on it is non-existent. Like, you just surge. And this thing, because of its absolute lack of ground clearance, needs some real fine control. So I was really struggling to find a spot to test how the four-link behaves and how the setup behaves, because the speed control and the radio are so bad. I definitely think that there's capability in the platform. It's going to require some changes, obviously, and I mean, definitely take into consideration the fact that for $70 more than what this costs, you can get an Ecto. So, I mean, there's no competition at all there. Even if you were planning on setting your Ecto up as Class 1 and putting a different body and everything, well, I mean, you could just take any element for that fact. But this is, I think, crawler number 12 for me. So when you get up to number 12, you start looking for the more off-the-wall options. I'm never the guy to have 5 TRX4s or 8 SCX10s. Like, when I get something else, I want something else. So I think the other me covers it a little better in the remainder. So I'll hand it back off to him. That's enough of this.
So how do I wrap this one up? Well, this is part 1. You know that for certain. If you just drove this thing in the RTR configuration with the stuff that comes with it, you would probably think it's awful. But I can kind of see through it. I'm looking at the performance of the platform itself, and it seems at least reasonably capable. I didn't put enough wheel time in it to get used to tires that short, so I was hanging the diffs on everything. But the biggest drawback of the whole thing, the factory servo, the RTR servo, is not awful. That speed control, though, is abominable, and this thing does not help. I mean, the low speed control is bad. It goes, that's about half speed. You can get it to crawl, well, no, you really can't get it to slow crawl. And for something that gets hung up this easily, not being able to slow crawl really hurts it. Despite having that punchiness, on 2S, this thing has a top speed of right about walking pace, so I would call it 3 miles an hour. This thing is just terrible. It's not comfortable to hold. The wheel is hard molded plastic. The RTR gear on this is all throwaway as far as I'm concerned. Any servo will be an improvement in at least speed. It is nice and quiet. But in part 2, which will be forthcoming, I'm sure I've got a brushed motor around here somewhere. I've got the RTR Reedy out of the Ecto. That will go in there for now. That will be like, anything I do to it now won't cost anything. I'm also going to check and see if the Class 1 tires that I have, what kind of clearance that's going to leave. So, am I telling people to go out and buy one of these? Absolutely not. Now, if you have... oh yeah, but before I wrap that up, the shocks did some sort of stiction thing. It's doing it again. But if you cycle them a bunch of times, they will get smooth. The rear is now stictioned again. So one shock acts like it has a bent shaft. And then you cycle, 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 and then it's smooth. So I don't know what that is about, But in part 2, motor, speed control, shocks, I have a spare receiver for a fly sky, so I'm just going to hook it up to a fly sky. I think there's potential, and I still find the van hilarious. So I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to give any definitive commentary on it because I don't know yet. I've got to run it the way that I would want to run it to see what I think. Those shocks, though, they're getting stiction already. That's a new one for me. So anyway, this one's a little off the wall. Thanks for sticking with me, and hopefully you turn into for part 2 so we can see if this thing gets any better. Here's hoping.